Now there's a verse in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attributes the mosques to himself. He says, وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ. Allah, He revealed that the mosques are for Allah. Now, this one verse should really emphasize the greatness of such a place, because Allah only ever attributes to Himself something that is great. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, أَحَبُّ الْبِلَادِ إِلَى اللَّهِ مَسَاجِدُهَا. The most beloved places on the face of the earth to Allah are its mosques. So just these two references alone should teach you that the mosque is not just a building. It's a place of great honor. It's a place of great virtue. And when I share with you 7 virtues, and that's what this reminder is going to be, 7 virtues of spending time in the mosque, praying in the mosque, doing activities inside the mosque, you guys, inshallah, are going to want to spend as much time as possible in the mosques, bi'idhnillah. So let's start with the very first virtue. Virtue number 1 is that you are literally a guest of Allah when you go to the mosque. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said, إِنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ بُيُوتُ اللَّهِ. Indeed, the mosques are the houses of Allah on earth. And it is incumbent upon Him, Allah, to honor whoever visits them. Now, really just reflect on this hadith. Imagine you have a guest coming to your house. What would you do as the guest? And of course, the example of Allah is greater, but just really think about it. If you had a guest coming to your house, you'd clean the room, you'd make sure you prepare the best of food, you make sure you prepare snacks, tea, coffee, you'd have everything there available so that whatever they want, you give them. And when they come to your house, you give them the best of treatment, correct? That's how typically you guys treat guests. Now, of course, like I said, to Allah is the greater example. When you go to the mosque, you are a guest of Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ is telling you that it is incumbent upon Allah to honor the person who visits them. So in the mosque, inshallah, you will find the answers to your du'ās. In the mosque, you're going to find forgiveness of your sins. In the mosque, you're going to find tranquility of the heart. And of course, you're going to get that iman boost that so many people are yearning for. There's great, great reward found inside the mosque. And that's the very, very first virtue. The second virtue is that you'll be shaded on the Day of Judgment. You see, when me and you die, and we're raised from our graves on the Day of Judgment to be held accountable for our deeds, the sun is going to be just 1 mile over our heads. Really just think about it. The sun, which in the summer we feel its heat, is going to be just 1 mile over our heads instead of millions of kilometers away from us. Okay? And there's no shade to hide under. Like, you know, when it's summer, you can go under a tree. In the shade, it's cool. There's a nice little breeze. There's no such thing like that on the Day of Judgment. It's just a flat plain. And we're going to be waiting for 50,000 years in that situation, just waiting for judgment to begin. And because of that heat and all that time that we're waiting, some people are going to be walking in a puddle of their sweat. Some people, the sweat is going to be to their knees. Some of them, it's going to be to their bellies. And some of them, even to their necks, they're going to struggle to even breathe for 50,000 years because of the extreme heat. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said, now listen to this hadith. He said, سَبْعَةٌ يُظِلُّهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي ظِلِّهِ يَوْمَ لَا ظِلَّ إِلَّا ظِلُّهُ. There are 7 categories of people who Allah will shade on a day where there is no shade except the shade of Allah. And one of those 7 categories is رَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. A man, or woman of course, whose heart is attached to the mosques. Someone who genuinely loves the mosques will be given a special shade on the Day of Judgment, protecting him from all that heat that everyone is experiencing. So does this not make you want to spend lots and lots of time in the mosques? Something for you to think about. The third virtue is that by praying in the mosque, you get 27 times the reward of a prayer by yourself. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said, صلاة الجماعة تفضل صلاة الفذ ب27 درجة. Prayer in congregation is better than praying alone by 27 levels, 27 degrees. Now, if you guys do the maths, in 5 days, there's 25 prayers. So a bit more than 5 days. That's what one prayer in the mosque is like. So every time you pray one prayer in the mosque, you get more than 5 days worth of praying 5 times a day in terms of reward. Now, considering that the most important thing after we die is our deeds, of course, this is something that we should rush to gather as much good deeds as possible in order to elevate our eternal home in Jannah, inshallah ta'ala. And that's the third virtue. The fourth virtue is that your journey to the mosque is also an act of worship. Pay attention. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Man tatahhara fi baytihi thumma masha ila bayti min buyutillah." Whoever does wudu in his house and then he walks to a mosque to fulfill an obligation from the obligations of Allah, meaning pray one of the 5 prayers, one step will expiate a sin and the other step will raise him in status. So it's not just praying inside the mosque that is an act of worship. Know that with every step you take towards the mosque, this is going to be a thing where it raises your status and it deletes your sins. Now, what does raising you in status mean? Yes, it means increasing your level in Jannah, which is an amazing thing. Yes, it means that you have closeness to Allah in the Akhirah, which is an amazing thing. But does it just apply to your Akhirah? No, it also applies to your dunya too. Perhaps by you going to the mosque, Allah fills your heart with iman. Perhaps by you going to the mosque, Allah causes your face to shine bright and He makes the people just love you. Perhaps by going to the mosque, Allah strengthens your relationship with Him. And so, next time you're walking to the mosque, just bring your attention to the fact that you're in worship from the moment you walk all the way until you get to the mosque, not just when you actually arrive in the mosque. And so if you guys are driving, maybe consider parking a little bit further away and walking a bit longer to maximize this virtue, if you like, inshallah. The fifth virtue is that angels, they constantly make dua for you even whilst you wait for the prayer. Now obviously, the mosques are places for angels. But listen to this hadith, which is so beautiful. The Prophet ﷺ said, فَإِذَا صَلَّى لَمْ تَزَلِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ تُصَلِّي عَلَيْهِ مَا دَامَ فِي مُصَلَّى. When one of you is praying, so you're actually inside the prayer, the angels, they send blessings upon that person for as long as he remains in his place of prayer. They say, Ya Allah, bless this individual. Ya Allah, forgive this individual. Ya Allah, have mercy upon this individual. The angels are collectively making dua for you when you guys are praying in the mosque. But then the Prophet ﷺ said, وَلَا يَزَالُ أَحَدُكُمْ فِي صَلَاةٍ مَنْ تَظَرَ الصَّلَاةِ. And one of you continues to be in prayer as long as he's waiting for the prayer. Meaning that even though you're not praying, you're waiting for the prayer, the angels are making dua for you as well. So the minute you get into the mosque and you're waiting for the prayer, the angels start making dua for you. Ya Allah, bless him. Ya Allah, forgive him. Ya Allah, have mercy upon him. So doesn't this make you want to go to the mosque a little bit earlier and just sit there, maybe do some adhkar, read some Quran or whatever have you, knowing that the angels are there in that place making dua for you? Of course. And that's the fifth virtue. The sixth virtue is that for you is a reward that will make you want to crawl to it. On all fours. You'll want to crawl to it. Now, before I tell you what I mean, I want you to imagine an opportunity right now comes up. We live in a world with mass inflation and it's very difficult, cost of living, etc. I want you to imagine that an opportunity comes up, guaranteed that you're going to get more than 1,000x return on your money. Let's say it's Bitcoin, crypto. Let's make it realistic, okay? You're guaranteed that if you invest at this specific time, you're going to get 1,000x return. What would you do? Without blinking an eye, you'd prepare all of your wealth. You'd set like 5 or 10 alarms for before that time. You'd be laser focused, ready to invest within seconds of that time reaching, correct? I don't think anyone will disagree with me here. Listen to what the Prophet ﷺ said. Now I can explain why you're going to be wanting to crawl to this. He said, وَلَوْ يَعْلَمُونَ مَا فِي الْعَتَمَةِ وَالصُّبْحِ لَآتَوْهُمَا وَلَوْ حَبْوًا. If the people knew the reward of praying Isha and Fajr in congregation, they would come to it even if they had to crawl. Now, can you imagine the desperation of someone who has to crawl to get something? You can't be more desperate than that. Like the scene that comes in my mind is like someone running away from someone attacking them that wants to kill them in a movie. They're hurt, so they have to crawl. That's the desperation. But instead you'd be crawling to these prayers. So just like you would be so desperate to seize this opportunity and invest all your wealth, this Bitcoin opportunity, shouldn't we seize this opportunity and realize that, wow, the reward must be really great for the Prophet ﷺ to tell us that we would crawl to the mosque to pray Isha and Fajr in congregation to catch this reward, right? It's a no-brainer. So hopefully this one virtue as well encourages you to pray your Fajr and your Isha in the mosque. And the final virtue is one that will make you want to be in the first row every single time you go to the mosque. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, لو يعلم الناس ما في النداء والصف الأول. If people knew the reward of doing the adhan. Now, of course, this is something that most mosques, they have someone assigned. But then he continued, not just doing the adhan. He said, alayhi said, and standing in the first row. If people knew the reward for doing the adhan and standing in the first row and found no other way to get these things except by drawing lots, they would draw lots. Meaning like kind of like a random number generator. Like who's going to take this? Let's do this fairly. They would literally draw lots. And again, if you think about it, you'd only ever want to draw lots if you're desperately in need of something, right? Imagine a very well-paying job. And there's 10 applicants which are equal in all fields. But there's only one space to fill that job. The only way is to draw lots. So if you went to these 10 applicants and said, hey, let's draw lots, see which one of us wins to fill this spot, they'd definitely do it because they all want to have that one spot. Similarly, the spots on the first row are limited. And so because of how amazing that reward is, you should want to draw lots in order to be in the first row. Does that make sense? And so, of course, we should strive, inshallah, to go to the mosque early and secure our spots in the first row. Okay? Now, these 7 virtues that I've mentioned should make it absolutely clear just how virtuous of an act of worship praying in the mosque is. All of this barakah that I've mentioned doesn't just manifest in your akhirah, it also manifests in your dunya. Perhaps because you guys decide to cling onto the masjid and pray in the masjid as much as possible, you meet some friends which become a great source of benefit and a great source of goodness for you. Maybe you start joining them in dawah opportunities, they help you with your iman, they open doors for you, you never know. Perhaps because you choose to pray in the masjid, Allah allows your business to thrive. You start getting so many sales coming in because of the barakah of actually attaching to the masjid. Perhaps because you pray in the masjid, Allah opens the door of marriage for you. You never know. The barakah can manifest in anything. All whilst Allah is building your akhirah and raising your eternal status for eternity. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to attach our hearts to the masjid and never prevent us from ever being frequent there. Allahumma ameen.